Welcome. I'm Doug Morgan, and you're listening to Uncommon Sense, where we hunt for the truth in the topics you're not supposed to talk about, Christianity and politics. Welcome back to FOMO Friday. Yes, we love to dispense of your fear of missing out because you're not listening to propaganda media anymore. And we bring you the stories of the week. And we definitely have some this week. Obviously, the very first one that you probably expected me to cover is the riots in LA and other places around the nation. We're not going to really cover that one today because we did do a podcast on Wednesday about the rioters, who they are, who's backing them. They are definitely highly trained, highly equipped, highly funded individuals, and they agitators, whatever you want to call them. And it's interesting that the money that some of these major groups are getting is from the federal government. Your taxpayer dollars are funding them, and to the tunes of millions of dollars by the Biden administration. And Trump has put an end to that, but they're still very, very motivated, and that's what you're seeing there in the riots. But anyway, not going to cover that very much today. Want to get onto some other things because there's a lot going on, and one of the things is that the Simone Biles, you probably remember her. She's the gymnast who has a lot of Olympic medals, gold medals, most of them. She apologized to Riley Gaines on Tuesday for their online spat over trans-identifying males in women's sports. The Olympic gymnast adding that she believed the current women's sports system is flawed, as she put it. The two athletes clashed on Friday. Last Friday, when Biles attacked Gaines seemingly out of the blue, calling the former University of Kentucky swimmer, you remember her, right? She called her a sore loser and telling her to bully someone her own size, which would ironically be a male. I don't know what she's talking about here. Gaines is like 5'5" on a good day, I think. Anyway, she said, quote, "I wanted to follow up from my last tweets," Biles posted Tuesday on X, saying, "I've always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sports. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for." Again, you can tell this is written by her handlers. This is not really anything she probably put together herself, but she's got to do some damage control here because she's just getting pummeled here for just the irony of what she was saying. And so anyway, she apologized here for getting personal, not really for what she said, but Biles claimed she did not mean to push policies that, as she put it, compromise fairness in women's sports. She said, quote, "These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports," is what Biles said. She says, "My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that feel personal and harmful. Individual athletes, especially kids, should never be focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over." She said, I believe sports organizations have responsibility to come up with rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition, and we all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful, she said. Well, Biles had initially responded to a post from Gaines last week, criticizing a high school girls softball team that won a state championship after the team's trans-identifying male pitcher pitched 5 straight games in which he gave up just 1 run in those. That's total in those 5 games. she said, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male, Biles told Gaines. The Olympian also posted, "You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser." Adding to Gaines saying that she should be lifting up the trans community. Yeah, and this is what Biles said. She said, "But instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around." And there, she put out like 5 exclamation marks on that one or something. Anyway, Gaines actually, I heard her interview say that she was taken aback because she had a lot of respect for Biles and her skill in gymnastics, and then to see what she said here, where she was really taken aback. But Gaines replied, telling that Biles her comments were disappointing, and that this is so disappointing. My take is the least controversial take on the planet. Simone Biles being a male apologist at the expense of young girls' dreams didn't have that on my bingo card. Maybe she could compete in pommel horse and rings in 2028. Of course, against the males, right? Gaines 2022 tie with trans-identifying male swimmer Leah Thompson, after which Thompson was given the trophy, helped ignite the battle to keep men out of women's sports. And after Biles apologized on Tuesday, Gaines quickly responded. She said, quote, "I accept Simone's apology for the personal attacks, including the ones where she body shamed me. I know she knows what this feels like. She's still the greatest female gymnast of all time," is what Gaines put on an X post. Gaines added that the competition, by definition, is exclusive. So competition is, by definition, exclusive. Yeah, I mean, there's somebody who's going to win, and somebody's, probably a bunch of people are going to lose. I mean, that's just the nature of competition. Quote, "To suggest that women and girls must be silent or ignore a boy who is publicly hurting or humiliating them is wrong," is what Gaines said. She said, "You can't have any empathy and compassion for the girls if you're ignoring when young men are harming or abusing them. I am not ashamed to be a voice for the voiceless." Gaines added that she agreed that the blame is on lawmakers and leaders, which she said is why she's suing the National Collegiate Athletic Association, the NCAA, and joining President Donald Trump when he signed an executive order on women's sports. Quote, "I didn't see you there or championing this effort with your platform," Gaines told Biles, adding that she welcomes Biles to the fight to support fair sports and a future for female athletes. Little girls deserve the same shot to achieve that, and that is what you had. So, yeah, I mean, again, there was quite the exchange there. Biles definitely stepped in it, and is trying to step out of it now. But that there's more than just that. There's also other people trying to get notoriety. You remember Greta Thunberg, don't you? Yeah. How dare you? Yeah, well, she and fellow passengers who were detained by the Israel Defense Forces, well, when trying to sail a boat to Gaza, they were detained by Israel, and after they were detained, they were shown the graphic footage of Hamas October 7th massacre. Yeah, I mean, I love Israel. I love the way they deal with people in so many ways, and this is just good. I mean, this is just really good. Israel's Minister of Defense, his name is Israel Katz, and he said that he instructed the IDF to show the footage to Thunberg and the other 11 left-wing activists upon the arrival at the port of Ashdod. Quote, it is appropriate that the anti-Semitic Greta and her fellow Hamas supporters see exactly who the Hamas terrorist organization they came to support and for whom they work is, what aristocrats they committed against women, the elderly, and children, and against whom Israel is fighting to defend itself from. That's what Kat said. He's while much of the 40+ minute footage has been circulating online. I mean, I've seen most of it myself, but a lot of it has like blurred faces and things like that of the dead, and even some alive adults and things like that, children and things. This particular video actually doesn't blur out those faces and that type of stuff. And it shows over 120 bodies, including children and things like that, some of which are beheaded, houses of people that are set on fire while they're in it, unarmed people shot just at point blank range and things like that. And so the Israel's Navy, they had a commando unit, and the Sniper Harbor Border Security Unit intercepted the Freedom Flotilla, as some of them were calling it, Sunday night, and offered the group aboard the Madeleine, I guess is what the actual name of the boat was, one final warning to turn back. And then when, of course, the boat refused, the IDF forces boarded the vessel around 3 a.m. and provided the group sandwiches and water, and towed the vessel to Ashdod. The Israel Foreign Ministry shared a photo of Thunberg smiling when being handed the sandwich and water, and with the caption, Greta Thunberg is currently on her way to Israel, safe and in good spirits. Again, I really like their PR work. But anyway, following Thunberg's arrest, a pre-recorded video message of her was released, where she said that she was kidnapped by the IDF. Quote, if you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters, she said. I urge all of my friends, family, and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and others as soon as possible. Well, in a press briefing Monday, Israeli government spokesman David Mercer said Thunberg gave a new definition to the word chutzpah. Yeah. In more than 20 months, Greta has not found one single moment to call for the release of our hostages. Not one single moment. And she has the chutzpah to say that she has been kidnapped, Mercer said. Greta will be returned back to her home country very, very shortly with the firm message that isn't a music festival. It's a war zone. The group, which has been mocked as the Selfie Flotilla, or also they were sailing on the Selfie Yacht because they were taking so many selfies of themselves along the way, is using the voyage as a publicity stunt, of course, in its attempt to break the Israeli blockade and bring humanitarian supplies to Gaza. Yeah, the ministry pointed out that the 59-foot boat included less than a single truckload of aid. Yeah, while more than 1,200 trucks have entered Gaza over the last 2 weeks, the Trump administration-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation successfully delivered more than 8 million meals to Gazans since the operation began less than a month ago. This according to the organization. Now, Mercer called Thunberg's stunt Instagram activism, which it was, adding, quote, and to poor Greta, we say, who is really funding Gaza? Who is really feeding Gaza? And who is funding their own ego? Yeah. Quote, this was a PR stunt, sailing under the flag of moral vanity, Mercer said. We won't allow a dangerous precedent to dock at our shores. We won't allow a dangerous precedent to dock on our shores. Letting this Selfie yacht dock on Gaza would open the floodgates for Iran-backed terror, for extremists worldwide, and for every pseudo-activist chasing headlines. I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? The Israeli government planned to transfer her off of her tiny boat back to her country, and that's actually exactly what happened. Thunberg, who she actually avoids air travel. She famously avoids air travel for environmental reasons. At least she's not hypocritical there, right? But she was forced to board a plane on Tuesday after Israel deported her following the Israel Defense Forces interception of her boat. They said that there was probably enough to feed maybe 5 people on the boat. At least that was what was left that they didn't eat on the way. Yeah, the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed Tuesday on X that she was deported on a flight to Sweden via France, sharing pictures of the 22-year-old buckled in an airplane seat near the lavatory. She was all the way to the back on a seat that didn't recline next to the bathrooms. Hey, you don't think that was on purpose? 3 other activists were also transported for deportation, while 8 others, actually reportedly including a European Parliament member, refused to sign the required paperwork and are awaiting judicial hearing to authorize their deportation. But according to the Times of Israel, Thunberg told her lawyers that refusing to sign the deportation papers would do more harm than good. She says, I do more good outside of Israel than I am forced to stay here for a few weeks. This is what Thunberg told her lawyers, according to the Times of Israel. She said, if we choose to stay here against the will of the Israeli authorities and are arrested for a few weeks, it will harm our cause. Yeah, because the Selfie was doing all kinds of good for your cause, right? Thunberg and the 11 other anti-Israel activists attempted to break the Israeli blockade, and of course were arrested. There says there are ways to deliver aid to the Gaza Strip. They do not involve provocations and selfies, according to Israel. Before her deportation, Thunberg posted a pre-recorded video claiming that she had been kidnapped, of course. And here's the funny part about that video. The video was taken before her boat was taken over. So yeah, President Donald Trump actually mocked her on Monday, suggesting, quote, I think Israel had enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg, because she claimed that she was being kidnapped, and recommended that she enroll in anger management classes. She's a very angry young lady, as he put it. But anyway, just, that, to be honest with you, it was more humorous than anything else. And the Selfie yacht, I think, just kind of explained it all. But I wanted to do a follow up here, and this is even more than just a follow up. Last Friday, on our FOMO Friday, we talked about biomaterials being smuggled into the country by Chinese nationals. Well, it's happened again. A Chinese national from Wuhan studying for a PhD was arrested on Sunday for attempting to smuggle biological materials into a laboratory at the University of Michigan. And the Department of Justice announced that on Monday. And the arrests of Shangyong Han and the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, is the second time this month that Chinese citizen with connections with the University of Michigan has been charged with smuggling potential biological threats into the country. According to the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Michigan, Han sent 4 packages containing concealed biological material from China to the United States. The packages were all addressed to people associated with a laboratory at the University of Michigan, and the DOJ released this by a press release. Quote, the alleged smuggling of the biological materials by this alien from a science and technology university in Wuhan, China, to be used at the University of Michigan laboratory is part of an alarming pattern that threatens our security. The American taxpayer should not be underwriting a PRC-based smuggling operation at one of our crucial public institutions. And that's what they said. Well, Han is studying at the University of Wuhan. Of course, that's the city where the COVID virus likely leaked from the lab before it shut down the world's economies and killed millions of people. The Chinese PhD student was questioned by Customs and Border Protection officers at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport on Sunday. And during questioning, Han made false statements about the packages and the biological materials she had previously shipped to the United States, which she later admitted to the FBI, according to the DOJ. But it kind of makes you wonder why she was lying. I mean, obviously she knows what was in there. Han also allegedly told the FBI that she had previously sent the packages and said that they contain biological materials related to roundworms and parasitic worms that can pose major problems in corn, soybeans, peanuts, and other crops, according to the U.S. government. There are many species of roundworms, many of which are uncommon in the United States, and some can cause health issues in humans, such as abdominal pain, fever, and diarrhea, if they get into the digestive system. And of course, this is all after the what we reported on earlier, where the FBI director Kash Patel revealed that a Chinese scholar at the University of Michigan was arrested and charged with attempting to smuggle a biological pathogen into the United States that could have been used for agricultural terrorism. So definitely something going on here. Obviously, it looks like it's being uncovered, and we'll keep an eye on that for you. So in this next story, it's a little bit disturbing, but not surprising, I guess. I know that I went through a class when my wife and I, we were thinking of fostering children, and we did not do it. We went through the classes, went through the training, all that kind of stuff, and we did not do it because of even at the time, this has been a number of years ago, the anti-Christian type of attitude and the things that we could and could not do. I have other family members who have done foster care, and they've had to quit because of what is happening in this next story. And what it is gender ideology's war on American children has turned its guns on particularly vulnerable group, and that is the children in foster care. Despite a court ruling blocking a Biden-era rule that imposed gender ideology as a condition of serving children who identify as LGBTQ, several states now demand that prospective foster parents affirm the gender identity of hypothetical children they might foster one day. This comes as Vermont has taken this egregious stance even further, telling one Christian family that they presented too much of a risk that they would raise children sharing their beliefs. So because they're a Christian family, they cannot foster because they're too much of a risk for sharing their beliefs. Greta and Frank Cram were blindsided when Vermont state officials denied their application to become foster parents because of their belief system. State officials added that if children in their home are raised with the same beliefs, it could perpetuate further discrimination of the LGBTQ community. That's exactly how they put it. Two other Christian families, the Wotus and the Gantz, also failed Vermont's ideological litmus test, and so were denied the chance to foster. Represented by the Alliance Defending Freedom, they were pushing back on this, and their case is currently under review by a 3-judge panel of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. The Crams shared their experience as friends of the court in support of these families. And Mrs. Cram, like many foster parents, was a foster child herself, and entering care when she was only 6 years old. Her first foster parents were devout Christians and eventually adopted her. And she said, I think ever since then, I just thought someday I want to give back. I definitely wanted to return the favor in some way. Well, Frank credits Christian neighbors for helping him turn around his own life, saying that if it wasn't for a Christian family back when I was out in Arizona, I probably would have been getting in more and more trouble, he explains. So yeah, this is obviously just flat out discrimination here in this case. It's not something that should be going on. And to say that, well, your Christian beliefs mean that you can't be a foster parent is just preposterous. I mean, what do you think that the news coverage would be of the state, Vermont, or anyone else, if they had said, well, hey, guess what? You're a Muslim family, you can't foster because your beliefs might rub off on the foster children. That would never go over. You would hear that on every single propaganda media site. You probably haven't heard this story, but that's why we bring it to you on FOMO Friday, right? Well, let's end today a little bit of a sad story, but I've been trying to bring you more and more of our celebrity type of news. Not something that I'm usually up on, but I've been trying to do more and more along those lines for you. But music icon Brian Wilson, the co-founder of the music group The Beach Boys, has died at the age of 82. Wilson's family made that announcement on Wednesday via the social media, saying that we are heartbroken to announce that our beloved father, Brian Wilson, has passed away. They said on Instagram in a statement there. We are at a loss for words right now. Please respect our privacy at this time as our family is grieving, and we realize that we are sharing our grief with the world. Love and mercy. Wilson is known for being the songwriter and the co-lead vocalist for the Beach Boys, as well as being one of the founding members. Other original members included Brian's brother, Dennis, and Carl Wilson, his cousin, Mike Love, and his friend, Al Jardine. Brian was 19 when the band was founded, actually, and the group became known for their California beach vibe with hits like Surfin' USA, Surfin' Safari, Surfer Girl, things like that. The Beach Boys moved beyond their original sound and really cemented themselves as rock's legends in the 1966 with the Pet Sound album and the single Good Vibrations. Both are now considered to be among the greatest and most influential works in the music world. Following the success of his career, Wilson actually faced some mental health struggles, believe it or not. They were compounded by the death of his father and the past abuse he faced as a child. He said, I've been through a great deal of mental anguish. This is what Wilson told People magazine in part during the 1983 interview they had with him. He said, I felt like a fat slob. I was very embarrassing. I used to go outside and it was scary. Now I'm getting used to it. I feel a little more confident in myself. He had actually said that he had let go of a lot of bad stuff because of therapy and that type of thing. But in the mid-90s, the musician actually staged a bit of a comeback. Wilson went on to release his 11th solo album in 2012. So anyway, I like some of their songs. May not have been, their biggest fan or anything like that, but obviously, he will be missed, and he made a huge impact on the music scene. So anyway, would love to hear, maybe you went to a concert, maybe you, you have a story or two about the Beach Boys. Would love to hear that from you. Of course, you can always do that at uncommonsensepodcast.com. You can always go to YouTube. We're on there. Love to have you share and like and listen there. And thank you for listening.
This podcast is a production of Morganite Communications.